use it. Curry, way downtown. Bang!
Great stars! Yes! She got up!
He's just perfect. And that's
Sweet it is! Collingwood win the grand final!
It's
Well, welcome back, guys, to episode 10 of Racing Xtra. I'm your host, Bella King. Joining me, as always, is Luke Dittman, and we've made our way down to Melbourne ahead of the Derby this weekend to catch up with our mate, Jack Jenkins. Jack, you're back. What's news?
Oh, look, not too much since the last time I spoke to you guys. Just back, sort of got into a bit more of a routine of training. I know I was pretty soon after my last fight. Last time we spoke, but I tell you what, it's been a slow week waiting for this weekend because for people like us, this is Christmas and I can't wait.
Oh, I cracked my first beer when we landed, obviously. There was a headache with getting down here. We literally landed 5 minutes before the show went on air. But yeah, it's going to be an aggressive drinking session come Saturday, I can give you that.
It's going to be a huge
And punting
weekend.
just quietly.
Oh, yeah. Well, Jack, you are now an ambassador for the Victorian Racing Club ahead of the Melbourne Cup week. How's it all going? What's Kylie Rogers got in store for us?
It's going unbelievably, and I think the VRC have done a great job. I think last time I checked, ticket sales were up sort of 14% on last year, which is massive, and they've just been growing year on year since we sort of had a little bit of a slump, obviously, with COVID. But I think that's more indicative of racing in general. You know, from the Moya, which was kind of the first big meet of the year, it was packed. It was absolutely pumping at the Valley. The Caulfield Carnival boomed. Cox Plate last weekend obviously was massive as well. And you know, this is the jewel in the crown of racing in Victoria. So I am absolutely pumped. The VRC have got big 4 days in store for us, and I'm looking forward to being there for all four.
You can't get a ticket anymore. Like I know it's the top of the mountain for race goers if you're going to go to a race meeting, but like even like you and I got some pull, and we're finding it hard to get tickets.
Yeah, 100%. Well, I had some people, you know, did the right thing and asked me a few weeks ago, so I managed to swindle up a few different tickets around. But there's been a few coming in late this week, and I'm like, it's hard to get general tickets like at the moment, let alone get into the members or anything like that. Which again, I think it just says a little bit like racing's back, like we're back to where we were.
Yeah.
Like I've been walking around. I'm always walking to and from training, running into people and stuff, and pretty much everyone I see in sort of the social circles is you at Derby this weekend, you at the Cup next week, you at Derby this weekend. Everyone's keen for it. The weather on Saturday is 25 and sunny, which Derby Day, unfortunately, for the last few years has been plagued with rough weather. And to get that forecast of 25 and sunny, they're going to be out in droves.
Oh, it'll be nuts. There'll be 90,000 people there. Like beers will be in hand, bet slips in the other. Like I cannot wait.
I'm so pumped. This is my first time at Flemington too. I'm just so excited to see it all. And everyone who says once you go, you just have goosebumps and you'll be back and you'll be back and you'll be back.
It's just different. Like I can't explain. Like I've been to big days in Sydney. I've been to the biggest day in Adelaide, and racing at headquarters in Melbourne, like the Flemington Carnival, there's just nothing that matches it. There's nothing like it anywhere in the world. It's huge. And, you know, even Saturday, we've got 60 individual black type winners racing. Like the card.
Best of the best.
I think it's that one moment where the racing card matches the party on the outside as well.
And that's it. You get both, the best of both worlds. Like you could, I know you don't want to, but if you wanted to go to the races and not look at a horse all day, you could still have the best time of your life because the facilities are there, the acts are there, the atmosphere's there. And then for us diehard race fans, we got a bet and tote over the corner and 45 million screens in front of us. Like it is, I'm a kid on Christmas, and we're a couple of days out.
Yeah.
The VRC have done such a great job in mixing the best of the both worlds and getting that. Obviously, they are the prestigious carnival of all of Australia, but then bringing that next generation in and bringing them what they need. They've done a brilliant job.
Yeah.
I feel 18 again.
Back in your prime.
I think if Flemington is doing well, racing is doing well.
Agreed.
Like they go hand in hand.
Yeah. Well, we're going to take a quick look back at the week that was before we get straight into our Flemington chat. Can we talk about the Cox Plate? The 2024 Cox Plate is going to go down in racing history. That was nuts.
I would say Jim take a bow, but he did that with 150 left to go in the race and
a
got
nice
stung
fine
for it.
to go with.
But They're just huge. Like for that horse to run the time that she did and break the record that she did is just will go down the history books. James riding his 100th Group 1 and doing it with his 3rd Cox Plate. Like, I know we keep saying it, but he just keeps writing his own fairy tale, and look, he deserves every accolade he gets. And well done, mate. Raise the bat. I know I'm a week late, but you deserve every second of it.
Oh, 100%. I fell victim to the fact that I went to track work Tuesday morning, and it was, again, like that indicative of racing being back. Walking into the valley at 5:30 on a Tuesday morning, there was hundreds of people walking in. And then when she came around the corner and James fell off, it just sucked the life out of the joint. Everyone was kind of just quiet. There was no more vibe. The rest of the day was a bit befuddled because of it. And I kind of fell into it. I watched her do her laps and I thought, there's no way. I'm like, she's going to be cooked. She's done a proper bit of work here. But then obviously Uncle Chris goes, she'll be all right. And I should have gone, he knows better than me, but I didn't. I put a line through her, and to see her do that was incredible.
Yeah, I think unfortunately a lot of us did the same.
I didn't have her as a out and out hope before the race, but I remember speaking to my old boy, and he knows a thing about racing. And I said, what do you think will happen? He goes, mate, she just had to play around the races. Like, she had no weight on her back. If she galloped 2 or 3 laps, who really cares? Like, she would have done more work with James on her back than she would have done off, so I wouldn't worry her. And
absolutely,
he was right. But I know James wasn't happy. I tried to text him that day, just making sure that he didn't have any nicks and bumps, and there was no reply for 3 or 4 days, which is usually his way of saying, leave me alone and fuck off.
Yeah. It just solidified that spring is a season for stories. There's just been so many this year. And on that note, your contender pretender, Luke, we all had high hopes for our little traveller, Pride of Jenny, and she just raced a touch flat.
Yeah, I just want to see her win every time she goes around. I think Declan summed it up best, where she went to Sydney, she had a tough task in Sydney with the run up there, and she's then had to travel back and do the same thing here, and she obviously raced flat, and Declan knows that, Kieran knows that, and the world knows it now. But look, she'll bounce back, a little bit of rest, and she'll be the same old Jenny.
Mr. Brightside 2000 just doesn't cut it.
I love the horse as well, but I said it in my contender, like, haven't we learned our lesson? He's had 6 goes at 2,000 metres, 7 now, and he hasn't got a winner. I know he keeps running placings and he keeps running good races, but he races the best 2,000 metre horses or 20, 40 horses on Saturday, but he just can't get there. He just not good enough.
Yeah, I feel like Brightside's just been this unlucky. Not unlucky. He's had a great career, don't get me wrong. Like, we'd all dream to have a horse like Mr. Brightside. But I think those moments where you go from a really good horse to a great horse, there's always been someone just a little better. Like Zaki would pull away from him, or I'm Thunderstruck, and then those guys have kind of left. And then Jenny came in, and or Romantic Warrior, he always had just someone take away that shine from him. But
I think too, he's a superstar miler, and he's a very, very good 2,000 metre horse. Now, unfortunately, in the race he's running in, he meets horses that are just that touch better.
Yeah.
yeah.
I think he just has his patterns too, and that's probably his undoing. But, Luke, your Tenacity Cranes lift of the week, Red Aces, Jamie Mott, take a bow.
Oh, Jamie got him over the line this week. The bumping duel on the corner with that horse, and to fight himself off the canvas and beat 2 horses home that arguably should have beat him home was huge. And he lines up in a pretty big race this weekend, so see what happens.
Yeah, big Red Aces. Look, I think you worry about a 3-year-old is the quick backup into a 2,500 metre derby. But without giving too much away, the way he's been behaving at the stables this week, he's up, he's bucking around, he's got one leg in the air, he's not showing any signs of being flat. So I'm firmly in the Red Aces corner. And look, I think if I could put my finger on 2 trainers that probably are there to be deserving of a Group 1 but don't have one yet, it'd probably be Simon Wilde and Nick Ryan.
Yeah, agreed.
And I would love, Nick, probably out of people who are in the game, Nick's probably one of my closest friends, and to see him have a Group 1 winner and at Flemington, where he trains out of, it would be auspicious, and I'd love to see it.
I just want him to win one to see the party afterwards, because he'd kick on like
any
nobody
early
else.
mail on where that might be?
You'd be turning that phone off.
Look, it'd be dangerous. It'll be dangerous. I'll be involved, which will be good.
Hard man to say no to.
Yeah.
He is.
Yeah.
But that is a tough race. Look, my pick of the race is King of Thunder. He's run behind Red Aces last week's perfect lead up to this Derby run. Got James on board, and I think the team O'Shea will have him absolutely perfectly primed. And then you've got the Raider, or Interstate Raider, coming down from Sydney, and El Costello, who's put the nice picket fence together. Look, I haven't seen him have to do it tough, which is what I'd like to see to really stamp himself in a derby. But they're two horses that I really think can fight out this Group 1 on Saturday.
Yeah, I'd love to see them both sort of kicking down the straight together and we get a good old school derby battle.
Oh, definitely. I feel like we're due for a staying contest. Like these lead-up races have been run quite slow and it's been advantageous for those horses that have been able to get a run early. So to just see a real good pace and a real good staying contest, that's what I'm looking forward to this weekend.
You just don't want someone to dominate it and the race be over with 100 to go.
know.
I'd
Yeah.
look, if I
We
had
need
the
to
money,
be a
Unless it's
theatre.
red aces.
yeah, unless we've had the house on it, then
Yeah,
it could be home at the 200. It'll be
Yeah,
fine.
just turn it loose.
What's your contender for this weekend, Luke?
I have to go with Keeneland, actually. Look, just the alley. Form's been good. Just raced a touch flat last start. I know he put in a good effort, but it was just a bit flat for me heading into arguably one of the biggest races for 3-year-olds on the card. So I think it'll be hard for him to get over the top of that and get over the top of these horses that we mentioned earlier. I'm not saying he can't run a good fourth, but yeah, I think first is out of the question for him.
Wait, was that your pretender or your contender?
Pretender.
Pretender, right, gotcha.
Yeah, I do agree with you. It's been a massive prep. I can't deny it hasn't been a great prep for him, but breaking your maiden first up and then to come into a Group 1 derby, that's a tough ask for any horse.
I think he's got to find a gear, and if
Yeah.
I have to be honest, I don't know if he has it. That's my biggest thing.
Well, let's move on to, backwards actually. Race 6, the Group 1 Coolmore Stud Stakes. Growing Empire. This colt is just pure class. He's been able to dominate against his own age group, had a super strong run in the Everest. Do you think that he is a contender in this race, Luke?
I do think he's a contender. He isn't my contender. If I had to pick one, it'd be Switzerland. Had a good chat with James during the week. He's wrapped with this horse. His last win was dominant in the console. Look, in my opinion, he probably should have run instead of Storm Boy in the Everest. We'll never know. That's a what-if question. But look, he's back against his own, he's in his own age group this week, and I really think the $6 is yum, to be honest.
Yeah, he was really impressive in that race. The way he worked up his gears up the inside and just burst out home. It was a very impressive run.
If he has the same run and he does the same thing this weekend, I think he can win the race.
Yeah, I'm always cautious of 3-year-olds that have gone weight for age more than once for a prep. Like I think, you have your ones that are, your mile and your middle distant horses that will race in their age group and then they'll have their one shot at the Cox Plate or their one shot at the Queen Elizabeth or what it might be. Growing Empire, superstar horse, and he could come out and just brain him. But if I'm looking for some value, he's gone twice at weight for age in 2 pretty hot races, and then he's going to come back to the Coolmore, and it's not necessarily an afterthought. I know they always, had intentions of bringing him here, whereas Switzerland has all paths have led
Exactly.
here, and he's
Yeah.
set for this race. So I'm in the same as you. I think at the 6-1 you can get for Switzerland, it's a great price.
Oh, 100%. 100%. And he has been up a touch longer than these other horses. He's run against the older horses, and he's run well, but like you said, it's not his grand final. It might be the sort of preliminary game afterwards. But
Yeah.
if he won, it wouldn't surprise me. But you can't have my money at that price.
Yeah.
What about Traffic Warden? He's a colt who's also hunting for his maiden Group 1. He was scratched at the gates in the Everest, and he was Luke's
Yeah.
pretender.
I was so relieved because there was no hate coming for him winning that day. But
TikTok
what do you
comments
think
are
about
safe.
him? Because
Oh, it's like he's a superstar. I just don't know. It's like that. Once a colt realizes that he's a colt and he starts carrying on like that, it's hard to bring him back.
Yeah.
And he's
like
drawn in between Lady of Camelot and Bellatrix Star. That's
Exactly,
a recipe
it's
for
like,
he'll be
disaster.
sniffing left,
Hey,
right, and
what's
centre.
he going to be
Oh,
doing?
yeah.
And even like I was listening to Jamie Carr, and she said that it's even the ponies on the way out to the barriers get him excited. It's not even so much the
Yeah.
fillies. He just gets up and about. So,
I doubt they'll cut him.
yeah, but
No, he'll be retired before he's cut for sure. What
But
about... Sorry.
But look, even his runs with broadsiding, like you put broadsiding in a field like this, it's almost a different story too.
Yeah.
Oh, of course.
Like, and he went head to head with him last time. He's a love and hate horse for me because if I tip him, he runs second and third, and if I lay him, he wins.
Yeah.
So, but he's one of those
You
things.
can't
I'm not.
win.
Yeah,
Can't find
he
him.
can't win. Look, he'll run top 3 for me.
Yeah.
But whether he wins or he runs third, who bloody knows?
yep.
Yeah, it's up to how many legs he wants on the day. What about our little seasoned traveller, Lady of Camelot? She makes her way back down to Melbourne. She's obviously well disposed and very versatile filly. I don't think, no matter how she runs, what the run presents her, she'll run well. What's your thoughts on her?
I think the broad answer is there's a couple of 3-year-olds in this race that are better than her. She's done the travelling. Don't get me wrong, 4th in the Everest was huge, but she's got to go up and down and up and down, and it just might knock her about. And I know Gay is gets them fit and gets them ready, but yeah, I can't have her over those 3 horses we just talked about.
I can't have her.
Right, well, on that note, let's move on to race 8, Group 1 Empire Rose Stakes. We've got a Tissue who's just been battling away this prep. Obviously, outside the placings in the Winx, Maccabi and Turnbull, but ran really nicely for a 3rd in the Might and Power. Where do you have her? Him.
Him, her?
Him, her, sorry.
Him, her. We've made this mistake
I don't
before.
need my TikTok comments going on.
I don't want to say it because it is very
We
non-correct.
can't be gender neutral in our horses.
I'm going to go a wild one here and say Al Safina, honestly. I just think the
The
values...
Perth horse?
Yeah, I just
Hey.
think the values
Up
there,
3.5
like
kilos.
Storm Time from back in a 2-rack, like won the stocks. Look, Shin On, I really do think she can win this race.
Yeah. You got the last 2 winners of the stock stakes both lining up in this race in Amelia's Jewel as well. I'm on Amelia's Jewel personally.
Same.
And I just think once she, like I'm a big Amelia's Jewel fan, so I'm going to be honest in saying that I'm trying to find a reason for her to win. And I just think get her back on her Melbourne leg, get her turning left. She's a Zoolander, can only turn one way. Forget some of her Sydney runs, which have had a heap of merit in behind really good
Well,
horses.
even her form was good. Like, she was 5th in the King Charles,
Yeah.
and then she's run 2 blinder seconds in the Pendant and the Tramway. Like, you can't take anything away from her.
Yeah, and I just think weight for age SP is a king when it comes to races like this. And, you know, she's SP'd at $1.25 versus Pride of Jenny in the stock stakes last year. So I'm just going to go Amelia's Jewel, get a soft run, come in, roll over the top of them.
Yeah.
And Jamie Carr on board, I believe. Is that I'm right there?
Oh, I don't have it up in front
Let
of me,
me have a
sorry.
little looky
I'm
for you.
pretty sure.
We know, like,
yeah,
you can,
Jamie Carr on board.
Yeah, so Jamie Carr on board first time should be a gear change listed.
Yeah.
Like she can lift a horse in ways that other jockeys just can't do. She can find a way to bring the best out of a horse. So back on the Melbourne leg, Jamie Carr on board. I'm really keen to be with Amelia's Jewel.
Yeah, I'm the same. And we know that she runs well at Flemington, having won the Let's Elope last year. Blinker's back on. Tommy made a comment post-race, in the King Charles, that he thought she just raced a touch flat and needed that encouragement. So hopefully it is what she needs. Like you said, Jamie Carr, Blinker's back on, Flemington. I reckon this is her race. If she's going to get a Group 1 this prep, this is it.
I know we've both gone away from the favourite, but we got to talk about the favourite. Like, 3rd behind, Deny Knowledge of Mr. Brightside in the Caulfield Stakes. Like, my head says it's a big hope, but my heart's like, the other 2 horses are better horses.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm probably the same as you were with the other horse. I can just never find a Tissue. Yeah. I swear.
Your traffic warden.
Yeah, my traffic warden. I won't be anywhere near her, and she'll just scream past them, and I'll go, why couldn't I find that horse?
What was the sickening beat last year? Was it the Empire Rose or yeah, I think it was the Empire Rose. And yeah, we don't want to go back there. But
No, not again. But anyway, I'm keen on Amelia's Jewel. I'd love to see her get it done.
What about Orchestral, Luke? Warmed into her run late in the Toorak over the mile. I personally think she wants further, but the blinkers go on first time.
Yeah, it's one of those things. Look, bad alley, really good last prep, especially with those New Zealand runs. Vinery, New Zealand Derby win, and 3rd in ATC Oaks. But my issue is she hasn't shown it this prep in, and you really need to sort of come out and sort of stamp that ground to be for me to be able to back them next start or the following start and have some confidence. And if it was last prep and you asked me this question, I'd be all over it, but not this time.
Not this time, in. Fair enough.
Let's head down to Sydney now. Race 8, the Golden Eagle. This has run over the 1,500 metres, and this maps to be a very interesting race with so many of the key contenders drawing out wide. When I saw that barrier draw, I was just like, I don't even know where to go from here.
Isn't this just an insane race? Like you look at the field and you're like, what am I looking at? It's like you've got these superstar internationals that are coming over. You've got great local horses, and then the barrier draw is just throwing the biggest, firework in there with, here, go take the car park and see how good you are and what you can do.
This is what racing's all about.
It's fantastic. And 20 horse field at Rose Hill, it's just,
Absurd.
what's going on?
It'll be an absolute bumper car derby too. Like, that's the best part.
What do you think? If you're a jockey, right, you've got 20 horse field in a Golden Eagle, all 4-year-olds, what's going through your head?
I don't think the barriers in a race like this matter as much as people want to emphasise. Like, my pick for this race is the Japanese horse, to be honest. And
They won it last year.
yeah, well, and they can win it again
probably
this
do it
year
again.
too. So, drawn 17, I know. The hard part is I think if Joe gives this horse a ride with a bit of cover, even if it's 3 deep, I think she's too good.
Yeah, Scully Pacino, she's definitely a very lightly raced mare. It's 6 starts and yet to be out of the placings. Just all class.
But it runs behind sort of a form around Stellenbosch and Jantar Mantar in Japan. Like, they are some crazy good horses. I think she draws an alley here. She's even money, but she hasn't, and you're probably getting a bit of value. But we need a Joe special, and he's
definitely.
He's been sort of on and off right in Melbourne. I hope he comes back up to Sydney and he puts one on.
Yeah. At least she's got the weight advantage over Steffi and Jolie Star. I think she's only carrying 54.5. So that's something if you're getting the outside draw at least.
You're nearly guaranteed a place, aren't you? 6 starts, 4 wins, 2 seconds.
You'd certainly hope so.
And the Japanese horse, I know it's easy to forget Prognosis because we only talk about Via Sistina. And even I heard someone potting Frosty's ride on the radio the other day saying, oh, he's trying to keep it too close, should have gone back, and that's how he runs on type thing. It's like, hang on, if Via Sistina hadn't run the best race in the world this year, Prognosis wins by 2 lengths. Like,
She broke the record by nearly 2 seconds.
Yeah.
You know what did Prognosis undone? Is he just got fucked with luck.
Yeah.
That's basically what happened.
He had
got
maybe
shafted.
one of the best Cox plates ever, if not the best, ran, and he beat the rest of the field by 2 lengths. So I'm in the same boat as you. I think I'd really like to see Craig win, purely for the fact that I'm mates with the owner. He's a legend of a bloke. So I'd like to see Craig get up, and he's got a great story where he bought the horse and rang a heap of his mates and said, got this horse, should be really good. We'll get into it. And he said, its name's Craig. And his mates go, I'm not buying, I'll never own a horse named Craig. There's 0 chance you'll get me in that. And then it come out and it's won and it's won and it's won.
Hasn't run a bad race to date.
It's a start.
Yeah.
It could be anything.
I was a bit the same. Like, I feel like a mug even saying this story. But when I saw his name pop up, I was watching Sky Channel, obviously, and I saw Craig pop up and I was like, there's something in me that just wants a horse that's named that to run a bad race.
Yeah.
And I was
Craig.
annoyed that he just kept performing so well.
It's like those dogs with people names and you're like, it just doesn't sit right.
Oh, what,
It's
like
just
Ralph
a weird,
and Lola, our dogs?
Lola's cute and Ralph.
But they're human
Is
names.
cute as well?
They're human names.
Ralph's a dog.
Ralph's a dog, yeah.
The pound
Ralphie.
name Lola. That's where she's from. Just a pound name. Hood rat name.
Yeah, Ralph's got a private school name. Your pretender in this race, Luke, Tom Kitten, will be relieved to not be seeing Chow Wolf here.
Yeah, I think so. Look, I do like this horse, but he might be a little bit tough for him. He's running the Epsom with Super, but he faces some stiff competition and he's got to carry more weight. So, look, can he run a good race? Yes.
He's always honest, isn't he?
He is always honest. Like, if he runs 2nd, 3rd or 4th, I wouldn't be disappointed, and I think he can do that, but I just don't think he can win.
Fair enough.
Never name a horse after a cat.
There's one for you.
What about Jolie Star? She's just been awesome this prep. Obviously, I think her Everest run, she stormed home better than anything. But she's just been unlucky these last few starts. Do you think she can run a strong race here?
Oh, I think she can. Like, she's got 11 and she's probably over the odds for me, but gets Karen on. She'll be hitting the line strong as always. I'm really interested about the French horse. Have you seen any runs, Jack?
Is it Lazat?
Yeah, undefeated so far. First start in Australia.
Actually got a great message from one of my mates this morning saying he's going to back Lazat, which kind of made me go, I'm going to have to go have a good look at this. And I didn't get a chance to before I got in. I came straight from the gym, but tell me about it.
No, like, it's hard to line the form up because they race so differently in Europe than they do here. But, like, you can't ignore a horse that's gone 6 for 6 and
broke her maiden in a Group 1 at Deauville too. Like, that's some good.
and they're not.
Isn't that insane?
I know.
just insane. And she did it easy. I was watching the videos before I come in here, so she's obviously on pace, and they don't run as quick as they do in Australia, but got the speed to put herself in the race. And I think if she gets half a handy run. I know you've got to navigate the barrier 12, but look, that race has been renowned for international raiders taking it out, and she very well could be one. But yeah, I really do think it goes to the internationals a 1-2. I think the Japanese horse wins and the French horse runs second.
Yeah,
Love it.
I'm really interested to see how that race is going to be run. We've also got Southport Tycoon, obviously 2 starts back, just the ultimate valley upset.
The irony of Willow being on board.
I know.
The absolute
I know.
irony of Willow being on board.
I know. He ran well enough in the Sydney Stakes last start. He was hampered at the start and just sort of, he came home strong enough. Do you think he lines up here?
I want to knock him, but the more I look at him, I can't knock him. The only thing that I can put a asterisk next to is the alley.
And
if
stepping up in distance.
Like, he's got to step up
1500.
for distance. Like, he's third in the Cindy Stakes and he won the Manikato, so his form's good enough. But, look, he does go against a tough field. You could run this race 10 times, have 10 different winners. And that's the way that they want this race to be.
Yeah.
Absolutely. You want it to be anyone can win.
Yeah, I'm going to be a massive fence sitter here. I am going to wait till they're in the parade ring and follow the market because I think, in this race, the last couple of years, I remember when I'm thunderstruck on it, where there was just this huge push late in the day. And then I Wish I Win was firmed from double figures into single digits during the last, 20 or 30 minutes, I think. So I'm just going to sit and wait and see where the money comes. If it comes for the French horse or the Japanese horse, I'm probably just going to follow them in.
It's probably the smart way to do it, to be honest. Like you said, you just never really know till they're in the birdcage.
Yeah.
And then one will go like this and one will go like that. And it's usually the one that goes like that ends up bolting in. So.
The only other horse that I have a bit of a question about is Steffi Magnetica. She arguably should have won the shorts first up. Ran super strong in the Everest, although she was out of the placings. I don't think the alley helped her there. She jumped awkwardly, was never clear, and she's a horse that just gets back and then needs that clear running to storm home. But she steps back up to the 1,500 metres. She's won, obviously, a Stradbroke. I think this race maps perfectly for her, and she might be getting overlooked with a bit of the star power that is in this race.
I think she faces a field that's a bit more powerful than a Straddy field.
Agree.
She justifies her sort of double figure odds. Now, if she gets back in the field, gets the same ride that Zach gave her in a Straddy, and she does no work and doesn't go around a horse, yeah, she could probably get up and nail a race like this. But I am a betting man and I will not be backing her, put it that way. Like, I think that the odds are not in her favour today, and she needs all the luck to win a race like this and to beat that star power.
Yeah, she's a horse that I'd love to see win. Obviously, the Cunninghams have had probably a dream year this year. Obviously, Stormboy in the Magic Millions, Steffi winning her first Group 1. I think that was the first Group 1 for them as a family. So you'd love to see her
And a bad one to win too.
Oh, I know, right?
Great
I know,
one.
you'd just love to see a horse like her win. Another horse that I would like to see win is our girl Bella Nipotina. Can she make it 2 Russell Baldings in a row?
She's another one that I want to knock, but the only thing I can say about her is she's the best sprinter in the land at the moment.
I know.
So
And,
hard to find a chink in her armour. She just never runs a bad
As
race.
tough as they come, hey?
And I keep talking myself out of supporting her every time she goes to the races. And then she makes me look like a mug every time she goes to the races. And even a run in the Everest, like...
Who would have thought that she'd be contesting the lead and
Yeah,
out
like
3 wide?
sitting
Like,
on
what?
speed 3 wide and still
Well, like
fighting off.
Willowed her and she still won. Like honestly.
That doesn't happen often.
Yeah. But look, there's a bit of a cash incentive in this race
Yeah.
that we know about. So
Yep. Go on.
Yeah, I think she's the one to beat in this race. There's a couple of contenders in this, in being Private Eye and Sunshine Paris that are.
Yeah, it's almost an Everest 2.0, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly, and that's what it is. Like that's what it's built up to be, and I think that's what the cash injection was for.
Yeah.
But look, can they get over the top of that good mare? Oof.
That's just what they do up there. They throw cash at stuff to try and make up for the lack of class that we have down here.
Talking
in
like
Melbourne.
a true Melbourneian right now.
The whole of Sydney's
You're
going to
taking that
boycott you
ambassador
now.
role to heart, aren't you? Like,
No.
If you were in that position, though, so if you were in Luke's shoes as a jockey, would you choose the Melbourne Prestige or the Sydney Money?
Look, I'm going where the cash is from an athlete. Like I'm an athlete myself, and I'll go where the money is every day of the week. But from a fan point of view, someone who doesn't necessarily have skin in the game and wants to win anything from it, I just don't think you can beat our carnival here in the spring. I don't think there's anything like it in the world.
I hope Kylie Rogers hears that.
the hard part to contend with too is like I know Sydney's got some prestige there, but your Melbourne Cup Carnival's been around since, 1860, whatever it is. Like,
Yeah.
it's just, you can't beat that nostalgia. And then they've hyped it up with this new generation and put all the money into the grandstand and just made it what it is today. So you get the best of both worlds, whereas Sydney's sort of the good carnival with the party aspect, whereas
Yes.
Melbourne's the nostalgia and the party aspect.
You're so spot on there where we just meld the two together so well, and it's part of the fabric of the city, the carnival. Like you can't separate Melbourne from the carnival in the spring or one or the other. Not knocking what Sydney have done. When racing wins, we all win. I'm not saying that at all, but the way people in Melbourne talk about racing is just different to the way people in other states talk about it.
It's such a weird thing too, because like the other week we had the Everest and Caulfield Cup on, and you've got the top 10 jockeys in Melbourne riding in Sydney on Caulfield Cup Day, arguably the second or third biggest day of the year in Melbourne. So I don't know whether the rivalry is good or bad for racing, but it's boosting racing either way.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things like, look, if you get people talking about it, that is good in my books. And if you keep putting the money in, then the jockeys will keep riding.
100%.
Exactly. And it's even like, it goes back to obviously the smaller guys, I want to say, in racing. If the Everest wasn't on Caulfield Cup Day, would have Harry of Coffey even got a ride in the Caulfield Cup? Like, there's those little things where everyone's getting more opportunities. Yeah. Because it's a bit more diverse.
Did you deserve it? Yeah.
That's
Would
great.
you have ridden it? Probably not.
Exactly my point.
Like we're gonna sit there on Saturday and we'll be loving the Flemington races. But you think I'm not going to be watching the Golden Eagle and the Ballot race? Like, I'm going to be tuning in.
Exactly.
But from on an outside point of that, if we're talking about non-participants, like people who are just enjoying the days, you two guys, if I can tell you, get to the races early and feel the vibe there before race one. Then races sort of like 1 to 6, just sit with your crew, have a few drinks, bet, have a good day. Race 6, 7, 8, make your way up to the new grandstand, to the rooftop. The DJ will be playing. They'll start clearing the tables out. They've got the balcony. It'll be chock-a-block. Come back here next week and look at the camera and tell them that you didn't have the best race day you've ever had on Derby Day. And if you don't, I'll eat my words.
Saturday needs to come around quicker.
I'm suiting up now. Just cut it. I'm suiting up now. I'm having a beer and a bet.
I'll eat my words if you don't feel the vibe that's there and go, this is just the best. There's nothing like it.
And that's what they've created. It's that whole 7-hour to 8-hour race package where you can go, have a beer, have a bet, and then end up with your tie around your head on that top dance floor. And if you're 30 or younger, that's really what you want to be. And I'm sure there'll be a couple of 60-years up there with their tie around their head.
It's age. There's no age bracket. You can be there's some older people there. There's younger. Nobody will have a bad time.
It's just fun. That's as blunt as it can be. It's just a fucking good time.
Absolutely.
On that, if someone came to you, we did something similar when we had Tommy Berry and Adrian Bott on. If you were to meet someone in the street, they've never been to Flemington, never done a Cup Carnival, what 3 words would you use to convince them to go to the Cup Carnival?
Oh, and I've never met them.
You never met them. They just said, I've never been, and you've got only 3 words you can use to describe the carnival.
Beers, bets, belter.
Yeah, something like that. Something like
Gold.
that. Like 3 words. Oh, fun. Well, that's just so generic. I think
if I was on the fence, I'll make it easy for you. If I was sitting on the fence and I was like, I got members tickets on Saturday. I'm not a race fan. Why should I go to the races?
I would just say, you're an idiot if you don't go. I'll pay for the tickets. Pay me back if you have a good time.
Oh, that's
if you don't have a good
guarantee.
If you don't have a good time, you keep the tickets. I'll have lost the cash.
I'll post your phone number in the comments of this podcast.
Anyone who has a bad time, tickets are on me.
Love it.
That's a big wrap.
That is a big wrap. I'm so looking forward to this weekend.
It's going to be nuts.
Yeah.
Keep up, honey.
Oh, God. I'm going to wear my practical shoes, that's for sure. What do you guys have any best bets for the weekend? Is there anything that you're most looking forward to seeing run?
Yeah, I have one that I'm gonna hopefully get my day started off really strong with. I'm gonna back Kuriyanagi in race 2. Ooh. It's the most open race you'll ever find at a Flemington meet. I think the top 3 in the market are $8 and $8 a piece. Kuriyanagi hasn't set a foot wrong. I think, out of Written Tycoon, but I think we'll actually relish the trip up above that 1200, just the way been racing. And I'm really excited. Jamie Carr on. Love to see, Will. Is it Will and the trainer?
Is it
I'm
Will
pretty
Larkin?
sure it is. Yeah, Will Larkin. Love to see him get another one. But yeah, my best of the weekend is going to be each way on Kuriyanagi.
Perfect.
What about you, Luke?
I'm all over Switzerland. Want to see James get 101. His rap of that horse during the week was just huge, and his run last start in the console was huge for me. I just think the $6 or whatever you can get at the moment is yum, and you've got the best 3-year-olds in the land all converting for a 1,200 metre Group 1. Like, what else do you want?
We've just got some ripper races this weekend. I'm so looking
I'm
forward.
tingling.
Do you have any future mail for Melbourne Cup? Obviously, we're filming on Thursday, so we've still got a few days until the Cup. What are we on?
I'm really keen on Vauban. I think.
Yeah.
I think one thing last year it had that track gallop at Flemington where it basically just like had a race. Like it just flew, and everyone kind of thought, "Is this just how it jogs all the time? It's a freak." But it actually might have taken a bit out of it. And I think a lot of people forget that the Melbourne Cup last year, I was there, and it was hot.
Yeah.
Like it was a very hot day, and that proved true in that the Queensland horse that had spent the time in the heat coming down handled it really well and without a fight. Not that it wasn't the best horse or anything, but it just held the conditions really well. Whereas the Vauban just sweated up, didn't love the heat. So I think if it can have
European
a little bit
horse too.
I was going to say they
never
always
see it.
take a while to acclimatise.
Yeah.
Yeah, I worked in Queensland. We would have Annabelle brought over a lot of imports, and they do take time to acclimatise. And I suppose you don't think it's going to be a scorcher in the middle of spring in Melbourne, do you?
Yeah, and it was hot. So I'm backing Vauban to come back, and class horse will be all right to get in here. And yeah, I think you were getting 10-1 earlier in the week. I think it might be a bit shorter now with Jan Brugel coming out, but
that was a bit of a shock to me, especially telling Aidan O'Brien that your horse is lame. I wouldn't have the balls to do that.
They didn't say he was lame. They said he looks like he's more likely to gain an injury.
I understand
off of
the
his
rules
scans.
around it, but
when I listened to Ben Mason, the vet, talk about it, it actually made a lot of sense. He said it's the indicators all show that he's a male, young horse, 3,200 metres. All our indicators are saying that he's higher likelihood to have a catastrophic incident.
Oh, definitely. And all they need is like a little bit of osteoporosis on a knee, and they'll be like,
it's all about
risky.
horse welfare, because people don't understand how strenuous that race is.
Oh, it's huge, and especially for 3-year-olds. That's why we don't really send Aussies. Don't really send 3-year-olds there because it's so tough on them. And I heard people from Europe complaining like, "Oh, it's one set up for you, it's one set up for us." It's that they don't have the CT scan machine for them in Ireland, so they put them in an MRI instead, and that shows a different result than the CT scan. And the Aussie trainers get treated differently. No, they don't. They all go through the same protocols, and that showed with Trent Natalie's horse getting scratched this morning.
Exactly,
going through the same process. So, look. I'm not a big worry about the image of racing because I'm really proud of it, and I think the people within the industry do a great job. But in saying that, it was a measure put in to help protect the sport, so I'm all for it.
It's the one day where all eyes are on the sport, so tick every box and do everything you can to ensure that our horses, our jockeys, and our participants get over the line safely and go home to their families.
Exactly.
That is all that matters.
And that's what it's all about. As much as you want to whinge about it, it's all about
100%.
horse and rider safety.
Yeah.
And if it means a horse doesn't go around on Tuesday, that 90% would have been safe, but that 10% is doubtful, then I understand it. And I'm with it. And as a jockey, I'm with it too. Like you might lose a Melbourne Cup ride, but you get to go home to your family, and the horse gets to go home to eat up, and it's all fun, fair game.
Absolutely. Well, Luke, you got very lucky. You took Buckaroo, our favourite, at 51s a few months ago.
Yeah,
That's a great futures bet.
I have not stopped hearing about it.
I think I've got 19s the place or something stupid like that.
Yeah.
Like it's just I haven't had enough on him. That's the problem.
Yeah, I've got Growing Empire at 26s.
Oh, that's young.
We'll
You guys have done well.
Screaming like little schoolgirls on Saturday and Tuesday.
Yeah, it'd be good.
But yeah, look, I've been on him since day dot. I've been cheering him home. He probably should have won his last 3 and not just one of his last 3. But we won't talk about a Caulfield Cup because that was like a kick in the nuts. But here we are going into Tuesday, the biggest race of the year on the Australian calendar, and I really do think he should be favourite.
Yeah.
I think he's a bit unders for my value at what his price is now. But look, if anyone else out there got 50s, and we're all giggling like schoolgirls.
There were some doubters earlier on in his prep whether he would see out a Melbourne Cup distance, and I must admit I was one of them. Do you think that he can contest the distance and hang on strong?
I think the way that he hit the line last week in the Caulfield Cup suggests that the 3,200 shouldn't be a problem. Obviously, most of them haven't run over that distance, and it's all a big question mark for everyone. But I don't have a problem with him getting the 3,200. I think yeah, I think if he runs the race that he has been the last 3 starts, he's too good for him. But it is a Melbourne Cup. Shit goes wrong, shit gets held up, and horses don't handle it.
So
It's
tough.
the Turnbull has just stood up as the form race for the whole spring.
Yeah.
So VR, Duke de Sessa, and Buckaroo. Look at those 3 horses that have come out of it. So, yeah, huge.
They're all talking about this horse that won the Geelong Cup, but I know it was impressive.
One smooth
one smooth
operator.
operator.
European, and he won it impressively, but he didn't beat the highest class of field that you probably want him to
That's
run
it.
into a Melbourne Cup.
You worry stepping up into such a tough race where all the class horses are there. I personally can't have him.
You can't go in 98% into a Melbourne Cup and I think that you're a chance.
No.
Absolutely not. Well, guys, happy Melbourne Cup week. Enjoy the weekend. How many beers do we think this weekend Luke will be having? What'd you get to at Everest? Was it
I don't know.
792 or something?
I stopped counting after
There's too many.
178.
We got home and my mum was like, "Did Luke actually consume that many beers?" I was like,
like,
yes.
Yes, Mum.
Yeah,
It was
probably
a
My
lot.
more.
bags are in the
Probably
corner
more.
of the studio, and my first question when I got here is there any alcohol?
Is there any-
I don't know whether I'm an alcoholic or I just needed one after the flight
Walking home
situation.
with
You
a
guys
six
had a
pack
rough
in your golf
morning.
clubs.
I am 1 out of 171 for Derby Day weekend. And it's
Let's go.
fucking Derby Day on Saturday, so let's go.
Let's go.
I'm trying to keep myself calm because
got
it's
a long
easy to
week of
just
racing
it's
ahead
easy
of
to
us. We got a
bit of
just
golf
get
tomorrow.
up. Yeah, we got
Like
a
that.
big day. I'm hoping you can't let him get off the chain tonight because he's a crucial part of my team
You think
tomorrow.
she's controlling that? Good luck.
That's
Good fucking luck.
all I said to
I'm
him-
gonna send him a message, be like, hey, golf tomorrow.
Mark.
Don't mess it
Okay.
up.
Well, my parents are coming up for the weekend, so I'm like, you got to kind of behave.
She was like,
you
should we
gotta see
do
Mum and
breakfast on
Dad."
Sunday morning? I'll be like, I'm severely hungover
He was like,
already.
you can do
No,
breakfast.
all good.
Well, happy Melbourne Cup week, guys. Happy punting. Enjoy the weekend, and we'll catch you all next week on Racing Extra. Racing Extra is proudly brought to you by Corpshaw. Like and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts for a next-gen racing experience.